All right, so we should be up and live. Did it actually transition? Yes, it did. So this is the first XP Monthly podcast. So uh, we're covering Shogo Mobile Armor Division, and I am Filbert, and I am with Blue, who is on the webcam on screen. You can say hello.
So,
And uh, Bird and Warrior, who is going to be the talking maple leaf,
Hello.
and Taylor, who is going to ask what sins you've committed and probably burn you with fire, coming from the Inquisition.
How's it going?
But let me switch over to my notes. But yeah, so a little bit kind of about this month. We played Shogo Mobile Armor Division. 3 of the 4 people talking did finish it. We'll point at Burden, the one who did not complete the task, but he did
I didn't finish.
He did play it and get some time in. A little bit about Shogo. It came out in October of '98. I've said a lot of times when I've talked about the game. A notable thing is it did come out about a month before the first Half-Life, but it's a first-person shooter. Was made by Monolith. Other notable games they released were the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War games until they unfortunately were closed down this year by Warner Brothers. They also released the first 2 Fear games, which next month we'll be playing the first Fear. It was primarily a PC, Mac, and Amiga release, and I guess before we kind of go into the game, we can kind of do a little bit of a roundtable. And yeah, hello to Shadow, Gani, and everyone else in chat. But a little bit of a roundtable, just you can introduce yourself again, maybe give a little bit of a quick background about yourself, and like your brief history with Shogo. So I guess to start off again, I'm Filbert. I've been playing games forever, primarily a PC gamer, but I grew up on playing games originally like Windows 3.1, SNES, and original Nintendo. But other than like the 6th gen with like the GameCube, I've primarily played on PC. When it comes to Shogo, I believe I'm the only one here who had played it prior. I played it and beat it way back in the early 2000s. It's a game that I don't know how I got. It was just I had a stack of like PC games. They must have came from my brother, one of my older brothers, and it was in that stack. But it had been so long since I played it, I didn't remember too much about the game other than kind of the big story beats. But yeah, I guess we will pass it off to Burden next.
Yeah. I'd never played this game before. In like probably 1998, I was playing Sega Genesis Gunstar Heroes. So, so this is like sort of blowing my mind back then. And then the next console I had was an Xbox One into Halo 2, I believe. And yeah, so in the context of when it was released, yeah. Well, actually, no, sorry. It's not really my impressions of the game, but
I guess
yeah,
a
I
good
play a lot of
thing.
games. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I guess what were your expectations just from when this game was announced and like you maybe seen some of the screenshots and like the intro?
Yeah,
Like,
like I guess because it has an old like FPS, I was expecting it to be like kind of clunky. I guess like I know 007 GoldenEye came out around then, and I'm still so clunky at that game just because the controls on the N64. So I think I was thinking it was going to be like that, which I was delighted to find out it wasn't like that at all. Um, yeah, it was very responsive
all
and
right.
quick.
And next we can shoot over to Taylor.
Yeah, like Bird and I had never played it before either. I hadn't even heard of it. I think at this point in time I was playing mostly strategy games, StarCraft and Caesar 3. So I had no expectations of what an FPS would be like from this time period. Oh, other than GoldenEye, I guess, but
Yeah.
I feel like that was a very different game. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I would have played it even without the if you had just said, "Hey, check out this game," probably would have played it anyway without this podcast thing.
In Blue Bin.
So, we were a Nintendo house, basically up until I left for college. So in '98, I was probably still in Zelda and F-Zero because we had an N64 at that point. I was still playing PC back then too, but it was all like Windows 3, like on floppy disk stuff. So no Shogo at that point, but yeah, it was all Nintendo stuff. At that point for me. So I'm coming in having played Fear and not having played Shogo. So I have glimpsed the future of what this game, I guess, turns into. And I feel like Fear is a superior game in basically every way, but you can see the skeleton of what would become Fear in this game, is what I will say. But it is also important to note that I am a gigantic mech nerd, and that is somewhat appealing, and those were definitely the most enjoyable points in this game were when you got to be in the mechs. I also feel like it's clear that they probably intended to make the game longer and have more mech sections, but then they didn't. So like the bulk of the game is you just running around as the guy on foot, not mounted.
Yeah, I definitely have opinions about some of that I'll be bringing up. But yeah, I think to give a quick synopsis of the game, and I'm going to keep this brief, but so Shogo, it's game in the future. From what I can tell, it's supposed to still be our world. You're playing a character who
Planet Cronus.
Yeah, Planet Cronus, and you're part of the UCA, and the UCA works with a side of the military called Shogo Mobile Armory Division. Basically, like, they make the mechs, and they're like a branch of the government. And Cronus, they mine mineral that lets ships go faster and light. Essentially, there's been rebellions on the planet. The Cronus has, I forget, it's a CMC. They stand for the Cronus Mining.
I think it's the Colonial Mining Collective.
That
Or the Cronus Mining Collective.
And so they're like actually run the planet. Then there's the Fallen that are rebels. And your character at the start of the game, you find out that apparently his girlfriend, his best friend, and his brother all died, killing the leader of the Fallen. And now there's a new leader of the Fallen called Gabriel, and you're also now dating your girlfriend's sister. And as the start of the game says, it's complicated. So as you
of unfortunate decisions, as it were.
Is it that complicated, or is it like?
it gets complicated because essentially you go back on the planet, hijinks ensue, which you find out that apparently your girlfriend is not dead and your best friend is not dead, but he is behaving very differently and going by a different name, going by Baka or Baku, I believe. And you find out that the admiral of the fleet, who you report to, actually knew your girlfriend was not dead, and she's like essentially like undercover and just never told you. And you team up with like. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Not only that, he's her father.
Oh, yep, he's her father. So as you continue to play the game, you find out that apparently your best friend and brother are still alive. And I don't know if you guys picked up on this, because I feel like the game does not the best job of kind of relaying this information. Partly, I think, because it's a 98 voice acted game, which I think it's insanely impressive that it is fully voiced, and the voice acting isn't that terrible compared to, I think,
There were some rough spots, but it was pretty good for
yeah,
what it was.
compared to the era. I always think of like the Resident Evil games and stuff.
I mean, they had to have dudes in the office voicing these characters, right? You're like, hey, or it's
Yeah.
like their girlfriends voicing the female characters.
So, but you find out that Gabriel, the new leader of the Fallen, is actually your brother, and he is going by a different name. And you get to the point where your father-in-law, or I guess your girlfriend's father, is kind of going rogue, wants to just essentially nuke the city to wipe out the Fallen and the CMC and take over the planet for good. And you get offered a deal. The game has two endings where you can kind of go fight the Admiral, stop him from nuking the planet, and you get offered to say, like, your brother will be saved, or you finally stop the Fallen. And in all this, you find out that there is essentially a living entity under the planet that is mind controlling everyone, and that's why the Fallen have sprung up. They're basically being mind controlled by the chronolith, or what's it called?
I forget what it was called, but it not only that, but this living creature is also the source of their faster than light fuel
Yep.
that they're mining.
So you can go either route. And we'll talk about the endings a little bit later and kind of touch on a little bit of the story as we kind of talk about the game. But yeah, you can play either ending. The game takes about 5 to 7 hours, I think, to beat. The one ending is quite a bit shorter than the other. I feel like it's probably an hour to do the ending where you kind of go back up to Leviathan to fight the Admiral. It's maybe half that time if you go after Gabriel and stop the Fallen, and essentially stop the Crothneil, I believe is what it is actually called.
Crothneil?
But yeah, I guess let's go around the table again and kind of give your general impressions of the game. So we can start with you, Blue.
My general impression is a great big meh. It's definitely a mixed bag. I was super excited when I booted up the first level because it puts you directly into a mech in level 1 at the start, and I'm like, yes, this is what I'm here for. And that mission is approximately 2 minutes long. And then as soon as you're done with that, it's like, all right, now you're on foot on a ship. And so like the intro is pretty decent, and then I found that as I played, the longer it went on, the more frustrating the game became. So by the end, I was kind of like, just sort of like, all right, I'm just gonna burn through this and slog it out and be done with it. Yeah. So that's my general take on it. Like, all of the mech sections were pretty fun. All of the on foot sections are brutally difficult.
So so I agree with that. I think the on foot sections are a lot more punishing. So one aspect of the game, and if you look up mods for this game, one of the most popular mods, there's multiple different mods that do this, is this game you can secure crit hits, and you can tell when you crit hit something because they'll like flash purple, kind of weird. But you can get crits on mechs and on people on foot, and crits can be very strong because sometimes it might take like 8 shots to kill like an enemy, but then it's like 2 shots if you get a crit. That
Sure,
said,
also kills you.
you can also get crit, and yeah, it does heal you as well. So there are a lot of mods that remove the ability for you as a player to be crit, because I think a lot of people share that same sentiment. One thing you brought up, Blue, is even later into this game, I think I really like the challenge on foot later on, because I do think the game is harder on foot. You die a lot quicker and easier, and it's harder to get health and armor. It's not as common. but it's that classic 90s FPS that's very fast, and if you
Very fast.
kind of abuse the quick save, you can get back in the action really quick. You know, it's quick loading, especially on modern systems. But the one thing that when I was thinking about the mechanics after I beat the game is I thought on foot it was uh more fun for me because of the challenge, and I think the levels were more fun to run around. But the weapons were boring. Like I only basically used the assault rifle and the shotgun. The
Yeah,
mech,
I was only using the assault
Yeah,
rifle.
the assault rifle was
The
clearly
Uzi,
the
though.
best
the
weapon.
best. The shotgun was
The
really.
Uzi had the best sound.
Oh yeah,
Pew,
the
pew, pew,
Uzi.
pew, 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 pew. The silenced Uzi, just I used it on principle most of the time.
But
Just that.
I think the mech levels I didn't usually like as much because some of the city levels I just didn't find interesting. But I thought the mech weapons were way more fun to use. I was constantly switching, rotating between the mech weapons compared to on
Yeah.
foot. I used the assault rifle, and then when I got bored of it, I'd go to the shotgun for a little bit, and then I would go back to the assault rifle. So I don't know if that's how anyone else kind of felt when it came to the differences in kind of gameplay and difficulty.
Yeah, I think I preferred on foot as well generally. Mostly because of the punishing factor, but also the ammo was so abundant that you could just spray down enemies for as long as you wanted. That felt kind of cool.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
There-
yeah.
How
Rarely
much
ran
ammo
out
can
of.
you run? I, I feel like gameplay wise, we're there are moments where you're dying all the time. So then I was like pre-firing corners all the time, which is nice because they give you so much ammo you can. But then there was kind of like I feel like in the game a conflict of map design versus the difficulty of shooting. The maps are so huge and kind of large and convoluted, and you have to. They're not linear, and so like there's so many corners that are dead ends. So you are often like wrapping around a corner pre-shooting. There's nothing there, and then going around another corner and getting shot in the back because they like
You
put
did check
units
both
behind
corners.
you. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Or
so
above
it was
you.
like
Yeah.
it's both like very hard in corner shooting game, but also very large convoluted maps, which I felt like wasn't the most
So yeah, I
smooth.
think I know. I was watching the VOD of your streaming it last night. I went to bed and I was watching the VOD, and Blue is bringing up, which it is true. They love to have you round a corner, and there's like an enemy like back up behind the corner with a rocket launcher that just
Yeah.
snipes you. Uh,
Yeah.
I do think a lot of this is 90s
Yeah.
gameplay philosophy, especially with shooters, where you know it's meant to be hard and punishing and not super straightforward. As it's almost like the 90s uh quarter eater arcade game, where it's like if an arcade game is too easy, you know, it's like a 30-minute game. And this game, if you are
Yeah.
really good, I think I watched or I loaded up a let's play of it, and someone beat it in like 3 hours, and I don't even think that was like a speed run. So I think that's just like back in the day, you'd probably be pissed if you beat this game like in one night.
Yeah.
It's
And
definitely like that trial and error where you like, all right, here's the map. If you memorize where every enemy is, yeah, you could just clear it just by like just pre-firing every enemy. But if you don't know, if you've never played it before, and you're just like wandering through and you're like, oh, shot in the back. Okay. Oh, that door opens and there's two guys in there. Like, yeah, you have to take it like room by room almost. Which
The
means
ones that killed
you're
me were
quick
always the
saving.
ones that were above you and behind you.
Yeah.
So you walk through a door and you have to turn around and look up.
the thing
And they've
that
got a rocket launcher.
always killed Burden was the cars when I was watching him.
Oh,
Oh
he
my
kept
God.
stepping on cars.
Yeah.
He kept nailing
You gotta
them.
blow them up.
He'll go up and slice them with a sword and then keep dying.
I just I just the explosions were like little miniature nukes. It's like,
Yeah.
holy smokes, this car is like fission powered.
Fallout level cars going on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez.
One of
Had
the
little
things that
soldiers. Yeah, go on, sorry.
I was going to say, one of the things that was really rough for me with the gunplay was you had neither the ability to reload or an ammo count.
Yeah.
So you would go around a
Yes.
corner and you'd be fire 2 shots, and then suddenly you're out of ammo and you have to reload.
Yeah,
The
yeah. I think
gunplay was
Agree.
fun as long as you weren't reloading.
yeah, I think that was another common mod you'd find a lot of people installing was mods that let you reload manually. Because again, early Doom, and I think a lot of the Quake, a lot of those games I don't think had any reload back then.
Yeah, like Unreal. Yeah.
And speaking
Something
of
I noticed this game.
levels, I was just gonna. Speaking of levels too, it's a game that I do agree there are sometimes it is very convoluted. I feel most of the time you just follow the kind of there's a route. If you follow it, it'll get you most of the way there. And it's kind of if you're running into enemies, you know you're going the right way. There are a couple times, even when I was doing my playthrough, I think twice I had to pull up a guide because that's just like I'm not gonna. I just want to know where to go. At least once there's once had to do that on a tram system, but
Yeah.
there are almost always signs that
Yeah, I
actually
was going
like,
to say they do a good job marking it.
yep, tell you like this is this building or this is the route to like shipping and receiving. So if you do actually like pay attention to the signs, it does I think a fairly good job of directing you.
And every
Which
interaction is collision based, so if you just run into stuff, you're going to find what you're looking for.
yeah.
And die a lot, but yeah.
But you're
Like
gonna say
I found
something,
the
Bird?
combat
Oh, yeah.
so fast paced and aggressive, like when you're peeking corners and like shooting and everyone's shooting you. But then once you killed everybody and you didn't know where to go, it was like you're just like just this being floating in this universe, like waiting for the right corner to be triggered. It was I feel like tempo wise that was the most disruptive moment for me. Like I enjoyed the like difficult shooting and the getting critted and dying. Yeah, but the being lost was uh, less fun. Although like this is an early game, like they don't have probably waypoints figured out like they do in modern games, so it's fair. But yeah,
Yeah, I think I want to show, and it. I think the game does some decent job with trying to like show environmental storytelling. I'm trying to find it,
yeah,
but I have your VOD pulled up because there's there's the one part where you're trying to go in this room and like you're talking with Blue, where the alarm goes off and there's the guy behind the desk and you have to wait for the guard to come to the door.
Oh yeah, I remember
But you can actually look through the window. There's a hole in the window. Look through that and shoot the alarm and stop it from going off, and it opens the door. And because there's other little things like that. I was joking with Burden. I was like, he turned evil because the game has little side quests that you can choose to do. So like, one of the first is there's a lady looking for a
kitty.
cat, and and there's like you go into this warehouse, you have to find the cat. You have the cat toy, you squeak. That's a callback to one of Monolith's earlier games.
one of the dudes actually says, "Find your own dinner" during that mission.
Yeah, he's trying to eat the kitty cat, dude. But Burden, he pulled up like the F1 to see like the objectives, and it says find an alternative route. And Burden found the alternative route that is you can just murder her and her husband, and turn off the turn off the panel, and you don't have to do that.
Of course, Burden found that.
Yeah, it's just like I just murdered like 1,000 people, and this lady's all asking me to help her cat, and she's like, "That's the only way you're getting through this house." I'm like, I got this big ass assault gun. I think I can find a different way through.
And
Yeah.
same for the ticket guy. When your ticket validated, you actually have to go back to like store and talk to a guy to get stamped, but Burden just murdered him.
Yeah.
So
That's
so I think it's interesting because the game is clearly ambitious with a lot of stuff like that, especially for the time.
Especially
And
for their team size. It was,
oh yeah,
I
time.
don't know what normal team sizes like during this time period were, but when I was watching the opening credits, I was like, "There's nobody on this team."
Speaking of the opening credit,
Japanese city pop
let me pull that up because
with a bunch of English names. Yes, these guys were the first weebs in existence.
yeah, they hired
Yeah.
a Japanese guy to, or I think as reading they hired like a Japanese musician to like work with
Yeah,
them to like,
they
get the
really credit.
Japanese feel. But if you have my stream up, I think what cracks me up the most about this, you can tell they did all this footage from in game with like the camera specifically.
Yeah.
So it becomes a little bit more obvious here coming up. But like the camera come up to that soldier right there, following these two people talking. It's clearly like they're just in debug mode, walking around as like a character without a weapon, and it's just like such a product of its time. It's like let's just put it in third person and walk around, and like that's our intro movie.
That's a sick kick, dude. uh, yeah, when I saw this, I knew I was gonna at least get some enjoyment out of it.
Like you said, it's ambitious, but like I definitely feel like they they ran out of budget and or time on like multiple things, and they were not able to complete like certain things that I'm pretty sure they probably should have.
So yeah,
Like,
I was definitely reading that. I think did an interview like years after the fact saying essentially, yeah, they were too ambitious. They were trying to do a lot more with the game, and eventually got to like we just have to get this released. And I think you see some of that mechanically, like with the mech turning to the car. Like sure, it's useful. You can move quicker, but I don't think they expanded as much as they wanted to. I think at the start of the game, I think there's quite a bit more uh, atmosphere in game storytelling, like walking around the ship. You can like walk up to like all the doors. People have messages. You can walk up to people and they like give you, it's just a line, but there's like a lot more like interaction like that, and a lot of that kind of disappears the further you get in the game. It still
Yeah,
pops
the
up in
levels start to seem
moments.
shorter.
Yep.
and I feel like one of the things that they did actually like for all the things that they tried and like didn't fully complete or didn't fully implement to the best was, but one of the things they did implement that was very good was like the NPCs like reactivity to you. Like they like all had like proximity. Like if you bumped into them, they'd be like, "Ah, sorry about that," or "Oh, get out of the way," or whatever.
With voice
Um,
lines that were products of their
yeah.
time.
Yep.
Well, sure.
Some of those are pretty rough.
Which, because I remember even in the when I would have played this probably around 2002, I was like blown away. Because I mean, even at that time, because I knew it was like an older game at that point, like 4 or 5 years old, but I was just like, this game looks so good for being like a 90s game, and like being fully voiced was still like even impressive to me. But yeah, I do think another, speaking of like, I think budget constraints and ambition, I'll probably say one of the weakest aspects of the game is probably enemy variety. on foot, you
Yeah.
practically have just like the two types of enemy, like a soldier and then like dollar store space marine. And
On your mech.
and then on foot, it's just you're fighting kind of different mechs with different weapons. There's like the spider mechs, and there's a few of those like big boss ones that are super hard to kill. But there's only like a couple of those you fight through the game.
Yeah, I think there's 2, maybe 3 if you can count what's his face?
Uh,
Baku.
yep, yep. And another thing that I think budget issue was the one girl who keeps showing up that you keep fighting.
Oh yeah.
Like you expect like there's gonna be like some
Yeah.
payoff with this. There's nothing.
It's
Some
just
sort of
a,
twist or
it's
something.
just a
and
comedy
nope,
routine.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I was reading a little bit about that. I think rumor the rumor is it was supposed to be Sujuro's. I think that's your character's name. It's supposed to be an ex girlfriend of his. That's why he's just like you leave me alone, or he's like there's one or two times like every time he kills her, he has a quip, but one of them's like you need to go get a life or something. But I don't think they ever fulfilled it more. And yeah, welcome Miss Moon. But yeah, because I remember playing this again. I was like, oh yeah, I remember her from back in the day, but I don't remember what the story is with her. I was thinking she was part of the Fallen and she'll like help convert you or something. But I'm like, after I beat the game each time, the first ending. I was like, there's no
There's no mention of her at all.
Deeper
mention of her.
explanation
She
or
never came
anything.
back. So that when I did the second ending, I was like, all right, I wonder if she's gonna be. And I'm like, nope. She just never comes back.
Never shows up.
And yeah, they
I wonder if they cut a mission because there's a point pretty late where if you go the one ending where you go fight the admiral, he has Catherine confined to your room,
yep.
but then immediately in the next mission, she's the person speaking to you.
So
Oh, for telling you instructions and stuff.
Yeah,
It's like,
giving you
they didn't-
more
They
instructions.
didn't confiscate your radio.
No.
I'm trying
Clearly,
to,
she's a extra special elite hacker and can just
Hmm.
access everything on the ship.
so yeah, I think we can talk about the endings a bit. So again, you end up finding that Karu, your original girlfriend, is alive. Admiral knew she's like undercover, and then she tells you that your best friend and brother are still alive, and essentially they're being brainwashed by the Fallen that is controlled. It's essentially it's almost like eldritch horror type creature that lives under the planet. And you basically are disobeying the admiral. He wants you to come back so they can nuke the planet, but Kiro wants you to keep going, and then you find out like she's gonna be abducted and stuff. So you keep like pushing. So then you basically are then told by Admiral like, all right, assassinate Gabriel if you're gonna be here or come back. And you get to the point in the game. I'm trying to pull it up on my stream. Yeah, it's right here. Where I'll try and make it full screen. You can't really see it much, but you get to the point of the game where the admiral just wants to kind of nuke the city. It doesn't really, I guess, tell you how much damage it's going to do or whatever, but they kind of make it sound like they're going to just destroy this.
Wipe the city off the face of the planet. Yeah.
Yep. To take out the Fallen once and for all. And you can make a deal with the Fallen where you'll join them. You talk to your brother, and you'll go back to the Leviathan and stop the Admiral. And so, and the other option is you tell him, the Fallen, to go to hell, and you go and continue the mission. So I know, Burden, you didn't beat the game. Taylor, you went with the top option of going to fight the Admiral. Blue, I forget, did you do both options? or did you do one of them?
No, I did the Admiral option as well.
All right. So I do think
I know what I would have done.
Which one would you have done, Burden?
I would have nuked that city. There's nothing good here.
There's nothing good here. So
Angry cat ladies. Go on.
I saw
What-
a Hollow Nudes place, okay? There's something good there.
So my first playthrough, and I remember originally back in the day, I distinctly remember picking the top option too, because it's like the Admiral clearly is like going kind of crazy with power, and
Yeah.
is in the wrong. And I think that like seems to make the most sense. So, but if you do that playthrough, you basically, I'm kind of jumping through some footage. Long story short, you fight through a bunch of people. You get back to Leviathan, and you, Catherine, your girlfriend, you help get out of your quarters. It's like the easiest way to get her out. You just show up to the room and like, hey,
Just walk in. Hey,
Yeah.
let's go.
and she tells you you have to turn off basically it's 3 panels to stop the cannon from firing, and then you keep pushing on, and you run into Rio, who we didn't really talk about. He is a part of Shogo.
I think he's the head of Shogo Industries, right?
I don't know if he's the head, but he might be the head, but he's part of Shogo. And again, they're technically different from like essentially the UNC, like the basically military. But it's clear that he wants Shogo to like flex its influence and kind of become the strongest force, because it's kind of the narrative of the game is you have like the CMC, the UNCA, and Shogo all fighting for power plus the Fallen, and he's clearly like pulling influence the Admiral, and he almost got you killed earlier on the planet. He basically used you once you did his bidding. He's just like, see ya. So you end up fighting him, which is a crazy fight. I'm trying to jump
It's a
to
boss
it.
battle.
Yeah, he's essentially the final boss battle for this mission.
Because he's in a mech and you have to fight him on foot, right?
Yep.
And then you have to fight him on foot
Wow.
afterwards.
So I'm jumping to it on my stream because I kept dying to him. I died to him like 3 or 4 times. So then I kited him to like the door where I just kept shooting the. Yeah, here it is. I kept just shooting the mech in the foot until it finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here it is. So like the Admiral was just running away because I'm like getting close to him. And so he comes out. So here I am just on foot. And this mech takes a lot of shots. Like I'm using this like weird gun. Like, all right, it's got to almost be dead. And you can see it's still going. It's still alive.
You have to hit it so many times.
So then I get like
pulled
the
out
rocket.
missile launcher here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I cheesed it here because before this I died multiple times.
I think this is the way to kill it, honestly.
Yeah. Because when I was playing on stream, I'm like, do they expect you to actually fight? I almost suicide myself there.
There's a delay with the rocket launcher. Okay, you would click fire and it would be like a
Yes.
nice solid like half second or quarter second before it actually shot him.
How you doing, Big Mark? Yeah, door cheese is right. That's
Oh,
a cat
man.
toy.
Oh yeah, you
Oh,
get to
yeah.
keep the cat toy burden if you go get
Yeah.
a cat.
Here, I'll let you hear it. It says Maggot Claw, which I think was the name of their previous game. So, I think the most disappointing thing about this game is the endings. Just end the game. So that's the final boss battle. This is the ending. It just hard stops. This text screen, and
Wall
that's
of
it.
text.
And then
Not
it goes to
even
the
really a wall of
credits.
text.
Now, the other ending I think is more satisfying, and we'll kind of get into that. But you basically find out that Admiral gets arrested, so you don't even like fight him, which would be kind of weird to kill him, being you're essentially your father-in-law. Then Cronus, the planet has calmed down. The Fallen has declared a truce. You killed Rio, the Shogun guy, It seems like there's going to be a peaceful revolution. Now, your brother stays on the planet as an ambassador. So your brother, it's like kind of still mind controlled, is how I kind of read that. Because he was mind controlled, became Gabriel, now he's an ambassador. Oh, yeah, it's Chronothiel's ambassador to the human race. So it's just like, that's just the ending. It doesn't resolve the relationship between the sisters. So that's so complicated. But the one thing it does resolve is that in the spaceship, there's a girl who you constantly walk up to her and ask her for a drink and she won't give you one. Even when you come back to the ship at the very end, if you walk up to her, he'll be like, "How about that drink now?" and she still is like, "No." And it has the weirdest end credits.
Definitely shoot you with a rocket launcher in the credits.
Yep. So yeah, right here. Remains unsettled, however. Oh boy. And this happens in either ending.
How about that red claw, Carla?
Nothing for
That's
you,
fair.
Commander. You're on duty.
I get my drink one way or the other.
He just full on murders her.
They
But-
do well with the giblets in this game.
This ending? And then the ending just keeps going. If you keep going through like the credits, it just keep.
It's like a developer dialogue with
Yeah.
themselves. Like, why are you still here? Why are you still reading this?
Yeah.
So when I beat the game, I don't know how you guys felt, but it's just like, man, they really needed like something more to wrap that up. Even if it was just like the characters like in a room talking. Like I hated that it just like went to that screen and it's just like that's it. That's so
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yeah, I don't have much to compare it to in the same genre. Like the only thing I could compare it to is like StarCraft or something, because that's the only other game that I played that had a story from that era.
I mean, just comparing it to like the Half-Life storyline, which has again silent protagonist. But I mean, the ending of Half-Life 1 is even just like wrapping things up in cutscenes and stuff. So it's not like
But-
it was beyond the time there.
Yeah, it wasn't beyond the time. I felt like they just needed like
More budget.
just the one more cutscene, at least of like, even if it didn't wrap it up, but I think of showing like your character, Catherine, Kara, and someone else just kind of talking, even if it was just like a very short, like 30-second conversation, I think went a long way. So the other option is if you decide to pursue the Fallen, your briefing is basically Admiral has refrain from using the cannon so he can pursue Toshio, your brother, and free him from the influence. So you go run around as the mech a bit, going through the city. I think you have a fun. You go through like this mountain area, destroying these like fortresses, until you finally get to Gabriel's fortress, which is like, this is like the entrance of it. And I'll jump to the fight. So the fight with Gabriel, it's a mech fight. And so the fight is a little bit interesting. So you see like the giant eyeball stalk. So that is the Chronothelial or whatever the hell it's called. And the fight's pretty simple. It took me a minute. I think I died once, but you essentially have to shoot it in the eye and it will remove like this force field it has on Gabriel. And then you can shoot Gabriel usually a few seconds, and you have to then keep like constantly like shooting the eye and shooting him. And it doesn't take too long, but so I think it's a little bit more like epic of a fight because you kind of have like a set piece going on. You're fighting this mech with a giant samurai sword that like 1 or 2 hits, if he gets to you, he'll like kill you. And then even once you defeat him, so you actually don't kill him. Your brother's like still alive in the suit. And then what's his name? Ryo shows up from Shogun to then try and assassinate you. So like after that fight, you even have like another short little fight here against like some mechs and tanks and stuff that can come in. So you still get to get your revenge on Ryo as well in this ending. And so yeah, and this one kind of ends with like actually a little bit of a cutscene.
Yeah, that one does sound a lot more interesting than the other one.
Yeah. And it's a lot shorter. I do recommend go if you have the save before it, the choice. So like, yeah, here's him talking to his brother.
We've got the Shogo fleet on the run. How's Toshiro?
Okay, I guess. I mean, for a guy who spent the last year as a sock puppet.
And how about you, my love?
Me? Well, let me sleep on it for about a week, then ask me again.
Good work, Commander. Mission accomplished. I look forward to
It's funny because I would have thought like they would have put more effort into the good guy ending.
This is the good guy ending.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get at. I think
I mean, it's
that
kind of the presumption is that like you play the one ending that you think is the good ending, and then it just like sort of is like, all right,
And it's
we're
not a
done,
bad
move
ending.
along.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so then you have to play the other one to get the like the
Yeah.
canon ending, as it were.
so
That is a thing that Monolith has sort of done also in like their other game. I don't know about their older ones, but that is definitely also a thing that like in Fear you have like certain choices that you can make. If I recall, I don't know. It's been a long time.
yeah, I was trying to find. I couldn't find if they ever officially said which ending is canon. I do think
Yeah.
this one is like the better ending. I think it's interesting because I think almost all of us except Evil Burden either chose the other one or it was like my first choice. And
Yeah.
because it seems like the like good guy ending, and in maybe some ways it's like you're making the moral choice at the time, but this one you get to save your brother. You and like it does end again with like a splash screen like this. You find out the admiral was basically investigated by the high command. Though like no charges are going to be brought against them, which is kind of messed up. Shogo goes on the run, so like Shogo kind of loses their influence. You get your brother back, though it does say he's suffered a bunch of psychic distress. And it even says it may be possible for humanity to make peace with the Chronotheniel. So it's just like I feel like this one does end on better terms all around. But yeah, I do think it is still a little bit disappointing. I do think you get a little bit more. You do get a little bit of that in-game cutscene at least that I felt like was missing from that first ending. So I know everyone's kind of touched on it. I guess after kind of seeing and talking about both, what's I guess sounds like what is everyone's kind of preference? Do you think like narrative wise? Do you think is like the better outcome?
So you brought up an interesting point where it's like the moral quandary at the time and what seems right at the time of the choice. Because at the time, the admiral seems like a madman going against high command trying to nuke a city of several 100,000 people, right?
Yeah,
And you don't know that the planet itself was basically a creature controlling all these people around you.
yeah. The planet
I think-
made like a cult essentially.
Yeah. I think at the time the moral choice is to go fight the admiral, but I think the other ending is ultimately way more interesting and probably fulfilling.
Yeah, and that's I think how I felt like after I beat that it, the second time. I'm like, that feels better.
Yeah.
I wonder why they put in the optional endings and
Optional endings are always fun. Choices are good.
yeah, that's true. But I
Yeah,
mean, like, yeah,
I do like the
writing endings are
choice,
also
and I do like that they are quite a bit different too, both in narrative and how they end. In the like like the one you're ending fighting a mech on foot in a
yeah,
spaceship. The other you're doing this mech fight with this like this eldritch horror creature in the background. So I do like that they both have their stamps. It's not just like you're fighting different color enemies. It's like the curse of like what is it Fallout 4? It's like what each ending is just like a different different
You,
just
the
units in the same
NPCs around
spot.
you have different clothing.
Yep. um, so I one other note I had that I want to bring up is especially watching Burden play. Uh, this had to be one of the earlier games that I think had dedicated combat music, where I noticed like as you're running around, there would be like background music like going on for the stage, but when you're getting combat, it would change it to specifically combat music as long as combat was going on. Then it would fade out, and I do think that again for being 1998, that was something that
Hold
was
on.
also very
You had
interesting.
music in your game outside of the
I didn't.
menu?
I did not.
Oh,
The
so
only
Yeah,
music that I ever encountered was in menus.
and the menu music was good, and they had like 4 or 5 tracks, and they were all good.
so there is music in
that
the
would go.
game. It definitely bugs often. You need, which I think you guys were, because the Shogun Fix patch I sent you
Oh, I
is
didn't use
supposed
it.
to.
I just played.
Oh
I
yeah, so
played
if you
while
didn't use it,
Augie.
that fixes the music bug. Otherwise, you get
Uh,
like no music. But even with that, there's a couple levels later in the game when I was playing on my second stream where there's just no music, and I was pretty sure it was the bug. But no, the game does have music, and it kicks into combat music when you're actually fighting enemies, and then it'll fade back to like the background music.
That would be really cool if it worked.
Right?
Um, no, Bird in your stream. Switch over
Yeah,
to
I
your launch
would
thing.
say if you were going to intend to play this game, I would almost say that the fan patch is mandatory then,
Yeah,
because not
oh, yeah,
having music, it's like not having half the sound in the
It
game.
probably
Basically.
also fixes a few of the bugs that I encountered where I would have to reload a save at one point, and when I tried to go back through a door that I had just gone through and saved right after, the door was open, but I could not move through it, and I couldn't open it with collision either. So
You got to be careful of those doors too. The
oh yeah.
doors will kill you. They
How
will
many doors did you
physics
like?
kill you.
I think I only
I died
died
like
to
4 or
one
5
door,
times to
but
doors.
I watched Bird
Squish
Night to
squash all the
doors.
time.
I don't think I died to the door itself. I died to people on the other side of the door as soon as I opened it.
I definitely opened doors to my own death multiple times, and I was
Definitely.
like, "Curse you, door!" That was the true boss of the game, was the door boss.
Just like any good
Because you could never tell which way it
90s
would
game.
swing.
Yeah, right. The other thing was the elevators. I spent so much time
Yeah.
standing in an elevator shaft on
Oh.
an elevator platform, being like, "Take me, arise! I wish to ascend." And you just
So-
like run around in circles and be like, "Detect
Oh.
me in this elevator."
You have to run on and off of it.
Or
Or
jump.
off and on of it.
Jumping would trick. The other thing I point out to Burden, in the controls, this game has a jump and a double jump. You just want to assign double jump to spacebar. It's just a better jump. And I think with the elevators, if you just do the spacebar jump, the single jump, it won't trigger it again. But if you double jump on it, and the double jump is just like a jump like twice the height. It will like trigger the elevator. But yeah, that there's a couple times I almost got killed by elevators coming on top of me too.
Yeah.
That junk will kill you. Yep.
But yeah, I'll
Been
play
there, did that.
this quick part so I can kind of hear the music. So this was from Burden's stream because it was working for him. I think.
Did you have the patch burden?
I did.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I'm trying to get to where it's, because that's like the combat music.
Yeah, and I think that
So like right here now, it's playing like non-combat music. So yeah, this is where Burden. You did a reset there, but you can actually shoot the button through the window. And he's trying to shoot it, but there's like the actual hole here, which Blue points out, and then Burden immediately kills the poor NPC.
Just gotta make sure. I think that's why I would choose the nuke. You know, just like no evidence.
But yeah, I thought that was something that was kind of notable to bring up about the game, because I didn't know. I think I noticed it when I was playing, but I definitely noticed it when I was watching Burden play. I was just like, oh, there's like combat music, you know, just because I'm not like as focused in, especially in this game with how deadly it can be. But yeah, I think other than that, another thing I thought was impressive again for 98 was a lot of the particle effects, like the fact that you see your shells like land on the ground.
The sound design in general.
Yeah, the sound design, the disembodiment, the blood,
Yeah,
the
blood was
smoke.
great.
Like, I thought, and there wasn't a ton, but there's like some destruction. Like a lot of times, if there's a computer screen or coffee, you could shoot it and it would explode.
Glass.
Yeah, most of the glass it could break.
One of the interesting things was, since obviously early 3D, you can't see people's mouths moving. They showed you who was speaking by putting the exclamation mark over the head. I think it's pretty simple fix.
Oh, yep.
Works well.
it's
And-
like, again, and coming from a retrospective, it's like when I played Fear the first time around, I was like, man, I have never heard of this studio. I have no idea, and it was so good. And like having gone back and played this, it's like, oh, it makes sense because Fear is an iteration on this game, like directly. Like all the things it seemed, or most of the things it seemed like they, have the outline for in this game are iterated on in Fear. So
Yeah, I'm gonna be
it
really.
kind of puts the puzzle piece into place. But I also might be just misremembering because it's been like 10 years since I played Fear, so I might just have nostalgia glasses for that game. So we'll see. But playing this game makes me excited to play Fear again because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember Fear is very good, and like, even with its shortcomings, like this game definitely has its like high points. Like when you get into the flow and you're just moving through a level and
Yeah, look at the
shooting your way
bullet
through everything.
details.
Yeah.
Because Burden
I
can't
think like
stop
that was the
shooting
biggest
bullets.
thing. Like it felt
Well,
like
and
such
even
a
there,
good
like
shooter for
the
the time.
bullets went through that guy. There's bullet holes on the monitor behind him. Like after that guy died, and when I was watching Burden play too, it's like I think he shot like a rocket, and there's like the smoke coming up off the ground still after it. Like it's just really watching someone else play. I'm like, there's like a lot of little things that just really give life to the game. And when you're playing Burden, I think you hit it on too that they do a lot to make it feel like a living world.
Yeah.
It happens less and less as you play it, and partly because there's sections when you're kind of in like the abandoned city that was destroyed by, they say, like the earthquake, and the other city, I forget what it's called, that the people live in, but like there's just like the occasional like random little shop or NPC and little market, and I do think that is like cool because it, as someone especially back in like the 90s and early 2000s, I always loved when you'd run into NPCs like that, because again I was like, this is cool, like, and especially if they like react to you in some way, because it just really was immersive, and in a time before like games are really able to do that or doing it very often.
Yeah.
Which
It's
at the time
incredibly
I
important. Sorry,
Yes.
well, I was
go
going to
ahead.
say I was watching a short interview with Gabe Newell, right, and he was talking about how important it is to have that reactivity.
Mm.
It just builds this world for the player, and if it doesn't react the way you think it should, it doesn't feel right and doesn't feel fun.
And like I am like a broken record. I think it is. It does make me also want to go back and play the first Half Life because I do think it's very interesting. This game came out a month before Half Life, and it was kind of doing a lot of the stuff that Half Life is always credited with, like being like the first game to do its like storytelling like in game, like not cutscenes or like a briefing coming up. It's like you walked up and talked to a scientist and he gave you like a key card, and then you'd walk up to it's like, and then like when the stuff starts going on in Half Life, you are seeing the creatures through, and this I don't think does it nearly as good as probably Half Life did, but it's definitely there, and it came out. You know, it's only a month, but it did come out before Half Life. Like you're picking up key cards, you can interact with random NPCs. You know, it's just walking up to them, but there's still like that interaction and a couple like of those side objectives. Again,
Or
there's
when you
not
walk
too.
through the hotel, right, and the guy behind the counter says something, and you're like, "Well, what if I shoot you in the face?"
Yeah. Yeah, I forget. He's like, "What if I kill?" It's like, it's like, "Whoa, dude! You just ramped it up." He's like, "Don't make me call security." I think I was like, "Don't make me
Oh,
kill
yeah.
you." The game also did crack me up when you're talking to Kira. I think she brings up the cat. If you do the cat side mission, and he mentioned something about like having to go track down like a pussy, and she like then makes like an innuendo, like she's just like, oh, you know how to find my pussy or something, and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, product of the times, dude.
Yeah, right.
Product of
It's just
the early weebs.
the early weebs. um
Which mechs did you guys choose? Because there's like
I
4 different ones.
always went with the medium versatile mech.
I think that's the one I was doing too. I wasn't going the light mech. I was going like the light mech that looked like it'd been through shit. It was like the one that always had like the chipped up armor. Mostly because I was like, it looks cool.
Yeah.
I always did the tough one, the big glowy one. I like that one's design the most out of the options. I was like, this one looks cool. That's why I'm choosing it.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how different they all actually play. Because
Yeah.
I know they say they have different speeds and health. I know they have different melee weapons. I don't know if they actually do more damage or anything. It'll be kind of interesting to see if someone like tests that.
I played the speed one. And, yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
Burner's
it seems
always
like you can
trying to
choose
run up and
2 or 3 times.
there's at least I know there's at least 2.
Yeah.
There's probably 3 or 4 times you
Get the
can like
opportunity to
switch up
switch.
your mech.
Yeah, I thought melee was gonna be a little bit more of a thing when the katana sword came out. I was like,
Yeah.
sweet, speed, katana,
Well, wait
choppy
until
And then you
choppy,
got
but
wait
shot to
until
pieces every
Fear
time.
Combat, because
Oh
Fear
yeah.
Combat was one of the first shooters to really embrace like melee. Um, yeah, I was gonna say I know when I was like reading about this game too. So they had 2 planned expansions that unfortunately
yeah.
neither one ever got made. One of them you're gonna play as Kira, like in her time undercover. And also, like when you beat the game, like in the end credits, it's just like we're excited to bring you more stories from like Shogo Mobile Armor Division and stuff. And
Yeah.
it would have been cool. There's like some screenshots and footage. I didn't watch it. They did in 2018. They apparently I discovered this today. They did a 20th anniversary stream where they talked a lot about the game. So I'm kind of interested in trying to dig up that stream to see what
See if
hidden
they
gems
announce
in
a
it.
new one.
And
I'd like to see this game in 2025.
yeah, it would be so cool. I wonder. Well, this IP is probably with Warner Brothers now, so it's unfortunately probably dead. I was trying to find out if the Monolith
Yeah.
team split off and did after they got shut down. If any like the founders or higher ups or open up like a new studio or something.
Yeah, it'd be good to know.
Especially like in today's climate, I think like the concept and doing like a reboot of a game like this, I think there would be like a lot of potential.
Which it's interesting that like I think for the time like it reviewed quite well.
Yep.
Like it didn't sell well because it was competing with Half-Life and stuff, but
Yeah, I was reading.
Yeah.
Well,
1998.
the reason it didn't sell while I was reading was they essentially had to like self-publish, and then they sold like 200,000 copies. So it wasn't like a failure by any means, but the I was reading an article about it a couple days ago, and they were mentioning like at the time there was publishers at all the big retailers had deals for like box space, and that's a big reason why they attributed the poor sales was like a lot of the big places, I'm guessing like Walmarts and stuff, they just weren't allowed to have the shelf space, and they
Yeah, I guess that was really important when you couldn't just go digitally download it.
and there's some other I think there's a couple other games that had just come out like the same like a week or two before too. Obviously one of the most
Yeah.
Half-Life after, but Half-Life wasn't like a big name or anything yet. But there's
So there was Sin, first-person shooter from Ritual Entertainment, published by Activision. And Blood 2, The Chosen,
so they
which both
worked on
failed.
Blood 2.
And then Half-Life was the one from that genre that did the best, apparently.
Yeah, sales. Oh yeah, I guess they didn't even sell that much. I'm on the Wikipedia.
20,000 units, right?
Yeah, 20,000 units during
the Christmas shopping
Christmas.
season.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause- yeah. They're saying. Yeah, so yeah, I guess they do attribute some of it to Half-Life, but yeah, it is unfortunate. It would be cool to have at least seen the expansions and get, I think, a little. The good thing, I think the story does a good enough job of like tying up where it's not like one of those games where it's leaving on like a huge cliffhanger. So it is at least fulfilling in the overall sense, but.
Looking at you, The Witcher 2.
But yeah, I think I've brought up a lot of the.
I only have one note left
Oh, yep.
that we haven't covered. It was just I was wondering if any of you guys caught the reference to Ghost in the Shell on the Leviathan.
I did not.
So
Not
one
either.
of the doors for the commanders is marked as Commander M. Kusanagi.
Who's in?
Soko Kusanagi.
Oh,
the
that does make
major.
sense in retrospect, yeah.
Yeah, because Ghost in the Shell would have been huge at the time.
Yeah, and obviously we're talking about the first weebs here.
Yep. I guess the other thing I'll mention, I can jump to on Burden was at it. I remember at the time and replaying through it, hating the vent mission early on, where you have to turn those fans and then turn off the heating
Yeah.
coil.
I didn't
Like
struggle with it
Burden.
too much, but
This is like one of the few spots where I feel like they aren't very clear about where to go. and he's like, you're gonna get fried, but he doesn't necessarily. The thing that throws me off was like when you walk in here, it says like thermal shaft A, so it's like, oh, that's leading to thermal shaft A or something. But it's like, no,
Yeah, some of the
this is
markings were
thermal
confusing.
thermal shaft A. And I was watching Burden's VOD, and he definitely got cooked multiple times.
Oh, way too many times.
But you
Way
see him;
too
he's
many
trying to
times.
I can tell you're trying to look for like a panel or something.
He's just while he's getting shot with rockets.
No, it was just the
Oh,
thermal thing, I think.
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
maybe.
what at first I was like, am I dying to these guys? There was just, although this part, I really like this mission where you had to use the airflow.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, for this time period, it's pretty early.
Yeah, it just mechanically, like I think they had really cool like worlds like this, but then also the puzzles were bloody hard because they weren't like so clear. It's more like run around puzzles.
I think part of it, and maybe it helped me a bit, is if you really kind of put yourself in the mind of like that 90s game design. So it's like when you've
Yeah.
just seen that door back there that's closed, it's like, all right, that's going to be the next spot that opens.
Yeah.
It's like when you go in this room and you hit that switch, it's like, and then he tells you gotta go blow up the panels now. It's like when you go back out there, it's like, all right, that door is probably now open. And you just got the other thing I think this game does a good job about, but you got to make sure you pick up on is like how Hank's talking because you hit that switch. Whenever you have an objective, like you know it's complete when you get some type of voice communication. So it's like that's what I started to pick up on my playthrough. Like when I'd be in a spot like this, I push that. I'm like, all right, I'm done in this area because there's been like some communication, and now I need to like progress and find whatever they're pointing to. So I thought they did a decent job with that, but you had to like kind of get aware of it. Yeah, this is where Burton soft locked himself.
I did it a few times. I did it a few times.
Gotta save before making that kind of jump.
Yeah.
When I was watching him earlier in this VOD, because I went to bed, I was like almost yelling at my computer. It's like, quick save! Like, why are you not quick save?
Yeah, I'm not used to quick saving.
And then he runs back on the thermal spot and explodes.
He forgot about it.
Yeah.
Did anyone else had any notes or anything I'm gonna bring up?
I've got nothing left.
So I think the last thing then is just your like final thoughts on the game, and if you like recommend it, if you want to give it a score you can. So I guess to start with me, I feel like this game kind of lived up to what I remember. It was about what I expected from memory and playing it. I did remember, and again, partly when I would have played this and beat it, I would have been like 12, 13. I remember thinking the story was a little bit more like interesting and fulfilling. Like there's more going on, but I think a lot of that's nostalgic looking back where it's just like it was.
Or maybe it was good then, but now you compare it to other things.
I think it's comparing it to other things, and it's also it would have been like one of the early like games I played with like full voice acting and stuff. So it's like I think a lot of that novelty carried the story a long ways. I still think the story is pretty good and interesting. I don't think they do a good job of explaining it all the time. Because I beat the game, I understood everything that went on, but then I went through and read some like synopsis online afterwards, and it's like, wait, I didn't pick up that aspect. Like I didn't actually pick up that Baku was your best friend. I think I missed that. I think he might have said it.
Yeah, they said that he was just kind of really off the rails. Like he was completely crazy on nobody's side, this and that.
Yeah. Uh, but I still think the story was really good. I had a lot of fun playing it. The most frustration I got with it was the one or two times I kind of got stuck where to go. One of those was that tram, like, and it's where Burden was here at the end, where, um,
That was a tough one.
because, well, what throws me off is, so it's literally the spot, because when you're here, if you check your, like, mission data, it tells you to dock at the transit authority, and this is a transit authority building, but you need to dock at the other side, and there's like a little tunnel you have to. So I got stuck at this part for like a while, and I got kind of annoyed. And the vent area, it's like I remember hating these vents, but overall, I really enjoyed the game. I personally would recommend it if you like shooters in general, especially like boomer shooters. Um, or if you also, I think, are someone who's just kind of interested in like the history of PC gaming and gaming in general, because like Blue was saying, with games like Fear and stuff, you see so many early elements of a first person shooter, I think, starting to really nail and be like
Yeah.
become like really good in this game. So I think it's like really cool to like play through that, because that's the cool thing about video games. It's like you can actually experience that. And I think at the time, if I was gonna rate this like back in '98, like this would be like a 5 out of 5 for me. Now I would probably say like it's like a 3 out of 5. Still, I think very enjoyable. It's a game you can get through in like 5, 6, 7 hours maybe, just depending on how you deal with the difficulty. But so yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts. For me, it's like really enjoy it. I still recommend it to most people if you like shooters, or if you're kind of someone who just wants to experience kind of the history of a genre in games, kind of when a first person shooter started to really become what they are now. I think this and probably Half-Life are the best examples of that.
It's a little unfair for you to go first when we're all going to say basically the same thing.
Right.
I definitely don't regret my time in the game. I had a good time, and for the time spent, I would say it was 100% worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it is quite short. And I don't know like what this game would have sold for at the time, but uh it was probably I would assume that it was definitely worth it at the time. You would get your money's worth out of that, but like nowadays, I think it has definitely has value to go back and observe like what first person shooters looked like during the era and have something to like contrast with, stuff like Half-Life with. Because like you said, Half-Life was heralded for a lot of original ideas, but I feel like those ideas were kind of just in, the minds of a lot of people making games back then. So I feel like this stands as a perfect example of like what 90s game design, what sort of shooters 90s game design like was focused on there.
Pushing
I
the
think
envelope.
right. So I feel like it definitely has worthwhile to go back and even just to experience that. Um, but I feel like also if you examine it by like today's standards of like what a complete video game should release in and what state it should be in, it probably falls a little short there. Like
Yeah,
having
especially
a
that they
having to
can't
have a
upgrade it partway through, update it
right,
once.
and it was a lot more important back then to have it as complete as possible because like you couldn't really just be like, ah, yes, we're patching it. You like that was a much larger endeavor. Like you would have to basically just like release a second version of the game, and
Yeah,
like you can't
on new
just like push it.
CDs.
Yeah, you'd have to reprint the game. Um, so yeah, having like a fan patch required to like make music work in the game is pretty rough for like a value proposition for the game at the time. But like, as such is the danger of like a small studio like this, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's suggestive that they made this game, and even with its like shortcomings, they like made enough money to kick out and keep going, and then like lay down fear. So
Like, yeah, I really enjoyed playing it.
Do you think you're gonna finish it?
Even I'm currently finishing it.
Oh, burn.
this guy's
But,
all
like-
tab in the stream.
So like I'm really enjoying it, even though like I feel a lot of frustration, like like getting lost in the maps and some of the odd things like getting killed by doors, just some of those weird moments, and like just getting like just headshot from like they got a guy on the left and the right and you walk through a door and they both shoot you in the head and you're instantly dead. It's like, oh gosh, that's impossible to have figured out without experiencing. So quick load and pre-shoot. But even with like all those like I think we've come so far forward with modern shooters. I think the core of the game is still like they figured out what a good shooter is. Like it has that smooth, fast movement, smooth, fast shooting, and just like interesting different opponents. I know one mentioned the little miniature soldiers. So when you're a mech, everything gets small. That's so freaking adorable. Like you got like these tiny like
I think it's
specks
like-
of soldiers shooting
What is it,
bazookas
the,
at you, and they're doing so much damage. You're like,
The
so
second
hard
level,
to
you
shoot
walk
them.
into the room full of them, right? And
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
leave, and the room's full of blood. It's just all the walls are covered.
Yeah, because like sometimes when you shoot them, they just literally bounce like across, like they're bouncing like 50 feet, hitting a wall, and then bouncing off the wall. It's like if you weren't
Yeah.
dead before, that 50-foot
90s
drop.
ragdoll physics would have got you. Yeah.
I definitely pulled the katana out to chop them up because it was just too funny. It's
Should have
like-
just stepped on them,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. So like I just I really enjoyed that. Like I think they put a lot of heart and soul into an interesting experience, which is still there today. So because of that, I really enjoyed it, even though it's a product of its time.
Dated.
Yeah, I know they
Yeah,
said
yeah.
they put a lot of work when they realized they couldn't fill all their ambition. I was reading that they decided to put a lot of work in making the weapons and the shooting fun. Like that was like their goal the last like couple months of development when they're like, we can't complete all these big things we want to. They're like, just make the guns fun to use. But yeah, I think to kind of go off what you were saying, Bird, and there's like the frustration with like the game killing you from its failure, like a door opening or whatever, getting lost. But I do
Although that still
find,
happens in modern games.
yeah, they need the yellow paint. Where's the yellow paint? But I feel like a lot of the
Yeah.
frustration I get, especially on the foot dying, is that fun frustration because it's like, all right, I gotta get back in and get past this part. I gotta get in, and rarely when I was actually dying in the game, not to like bull crap, but like just being killed. It's like I'm frustrated, but I want to get back in, and like to me, that's like the best sign of a good game is I have that challenge, and I want to overcome it, and I think it really helps too because the game. You can quick save, even if you don't quick save. The missions are fairly short, so the mission briefings you can always load up at, and the game loads super quick. I remember even playing this. I would play this on a Windows 98 machine. That probably at the time I don't think I even had a dedicated graphics card, and I remember the loading wasn't as fast, but I want to say it was maybe like 10 seconds. So it was still even like in the time. you get back into it real quick.
Real quick, who are we watching die to cars right here?
Burden.
I know.
Cars were his worst enemy, dude.
Oh my god.
He died to a
Just-
fork
They look
truck
so benign.
earlier. He died.
What's
Definitely
bad is
had
they're
so
there to
many moments
restore
where
your
I'm like-
health, not take it.
The other
Definitely
thing,
moments where
yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm gonna shoot this car because I need healing, and then I'm like, I'm definitely far enough away from this car, and then it blew up, and I was like, I was not far enough away from that car for it to not hurt me.
the other thing too, I told Burn before I left, and he didn't hear me, was on the on foot levels, the crates are your friends. You shoot the crates and they drop
Yeah.
health and armor. But yeah, it cracked me
That's
up.
a good
Burden
thing.
was just
Hard mode.
even before this, he was just constantly dying to the cars.
It's a hard game, man.
Lots
But
of
yeah, that is Shogo. It sounds like everyone who played it enjoyed it. And again, if anyone in EXP Monthly didn't get a chance to play it, sounds like most of us do recommend it. At least maybe something for your back catalog or backloggery. I do again highly recommend using the fan made patch if you ever do
Yeah.
play it. I have links on the EXP Monthly website. If you go to the current game, there's a tab called Archive where I'm putting like all the archive information of the previous months. So you can always go there and get the links still for Shogo if you need them. But with that is going to essentially wrap up this first podcast. And in August, we're going on to another Monolith game, which we've mentioned multiple times, and that is Fear. So we'll be playing Fear. Again, that is available on both Steam, Xbox 360, PS3, and GOG. There are 2 expansions for it. I know if you buy the digital version, you get the expansions. I'll probably play through both of those. I don't know for the rest of you. For me, I played Fear back in the day. I remember even less about it than Shogo.
I played it back in the day as well. I just remember it being really good.
Yep. I remember a couple fights. I'm pretty sure I beat it, but I can't say for sure. It was one of the first games I played on my brother's PC that we like ramped the graphics up. Because I remember at the time I was like, this game looks amazing.
Yeah.
Because I always think of Fear and the first Far Cry.
I do think going from Shogo to Fear will be a stark difference
Yep.
in graphics.
And I think, like Blue's saying, it's going to be, I think, real fun to compare them, especially mechanically, after we play Fear. But yeah, everyone, community, if you want or if you're able, make sure you check out Fear next month. And then Chrono Trigger is the month after that. And then for September, I'm doing a dealer's choice. So there is a post on the Discord under upcoming games. Just react to it. And probably in a week or two, I'm going to look at all the people who reacted to it. I'll randomly choose one of those people, and they'll pick the game for October. So, and yeah, we'll kind of keep going from there. So,
Sounds like fun.
yeah, that I think marks the end of this. And yeah, we'll just let everyone say their goodbyes. Again, I'm Filbert. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. And we can kind of go around the room.
Yeah. Thanks for joining in.
It's time for us to go
visiting
feed
these old.
our Broken Arrow addiction.
Yeah, I'll keep this stream up if you want to watch us play Broken Arrow and feed. But yeah, Bluebin. If you
Oh
wanna...
yeah, fun stuff. I'm so excited for Fear, actually. Like this
too,
game made
yeah.
me so excited for Fear. So hopefully I don't like have self ruined myself by being like, oh,
You
Shogo,
overhyped.
Shogo. Yeah, well, it's like Shogo. like was good, and then Fear is only a slight step up on that, and it's like, it's not actually that impressive, really, in retrospect. We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
it'll be interesting. The big thing for Fear, and not to keep this going any longer, but me, Blue, and a bunch of friends, like our second year of college, used to LAN party Fear all the time. We had so many like free for all 4v4, 3v3 nights with Fear. So most of what I played was a free multiplayer release they did, like in 2009. We were just landing that all the time and having so much fun. But yeah, that's gonna be stream. I'm gonna end the stream, just make a clean VOD, but I'll be back up live probably in like 5 minutes if anyone wants to stick around and watch us play map painting games, as Vinny C likes to call them. So, all right,
Yeah.
I'm Filbert, and I'll catch you all next time.
Cheers.